Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome back. We're gonna be breaking down one of my favorite samples I've made this week. This is gonna be interesting because I'm doing a breakdown instead of a cook up. Usually I would just cook up a sample, record it, and post it, and I really wouldn't do too much talking because I get really locked in, but I kinda want to try doing more talking, so now I'm doing a breakdown. This is what the sample sounds like. So first, I started with these vocals that I found on Splice. This vocal's already resampled, so there's already processing, as you can hear, like the high-pitched voice and some of the delay. So I didn't really do much to it at first. I kind of just left it as it was, and then I was just vibing to it. And then I was like, this needs a piano. So I opened up Contact. I'm gonna play it without the vocal. So I started off in A sharp minor because that is what the vocal sample is in, and I started off with this. I'm pretty sure this is a 7th chord. I had it going the whole bar, but then I cut it about right here. I played with the voicings to give it a little bit more tension, and then I added this little melody on top of it. And then I copied this chord to the next bar, brought it down 3, so now it's at F sharp. And then again, I play with the voicings to get the feeling right. A lot of this happens while I have it repeating. I just keep pausing and playing, and then eventually I'll hear something, I'll find a pocket, and then I'll put it down. It also helps for me to think of a color when I'm making music. So to me, this is very like yellow, dark brownish, and I kind of just build it off that feeling. And that's how I find these chords. That's how I find these different notes to add tension, these different top melodies. Is just really going off the feeling and what I hear in the moment. So this is what this sounds like. That's literally the whole progression. It's copied and pasted onto the next bar, and then copy and paste it onto the next 4 bars. So the trick is, it's not really about how complicated your chord progression is, but it's how you make it different, how you make it sound, and most importantly, how you make it feel. And there are a few ways you can accomplish these. One of the first things I do after making a chord progression is I'll go to this magnet up here, I'll turn it to none, and then I'll manually go in and slightly move the notes off center. Playing with timings and voicings to your style, your feelings, your emotion will take a good sound to a great sound, and that's how you make melodies that stand out. Another parameter that has a huge impact on emotion and feeling is velocity. I have the piano turned down a little bit because I want it to be a little more softer. But if I would turn it back up to normal velocity, you can hear the difference. It feels more cloud-like. Alright, now that I've finished my chord progression and I like the way it sounds, I like the way it's moving me, I like the feeling it's giving me, I can listen to it over and over again and I don't get tired of it. That's how I know it's ready to move on. I don't need to do anything else. Building a good melody is part by part. The first part is good, then the second part is good, and the third part is good, and you don't need that many parts after that. After I finish my chord progression, I go back to the vocals and I do a little bit more processing on them. 2 reasons. 1, I hate how bitey the vocals sound. They're so high pitched, they're just screaming in your ear, taking all your attention away from the feeling. And with all that noise, where you hear all that bitey noise, is where the main vocal from the artist that could potentially get on this sample, that's where their voice is gonna sit. So I don't even want the vocal there. So the first thing I do is I filter out up until 5K. Now it's feeling much better. Now you can kind of, you can kind of flow with it. You can kind of vibe with it and not be, it's not screaming in your ear. It's kind of like underwater. Now I'm going to play it with the chords. See, that's so nice. Now they're complementing each other. Now they're complementing each other instead of the vocals like dabbing the piano. And then the last piece of processing I did is I opened up Nectar 3 and I used the background vocal preset to really push it towards the back. And I mean, it's in the preset name, it's in the background. It's still missing something. The piano is really nice. It's driving the story along. It's driving the emotion along, but it sounded very thin to me. Layering is probably the most important thing when it comes to melodies. You don't need 800 sounds to make a good melody. You need about, for me, I need about 3 good layers and I'm good. The melody sounds full. You can feel it. There's space for the artist to work. There's space for drums. The vocal is sitting in the back. It's all about the sounds you pick. It's all about sound selection, how you use that sound, and a good chord progression. So I opened up Contact again and I found a different piano, but this one had a more of an ambient vibe and it gave it a more fuller vibe. So I opened up Contact again and I dug through some piano sounds and I found this amazing, very silky, very purple piano, but it's more like of an ambient piano. I'm gonna play it for you. And I copied over the chords from the first one, layered it over, and the only thing I changed is the little top melody. I took it out of the first bar. So now on this one it's only playing on the third bar. And together they sound like this. You see that second layer really drives that waviness, that carry feeling, that it just drives the emotion along. And then with the vocals, this is what they sound like. So it's sounding really great, and at this point I was like, you know what, I really don't know what else I should add to it. I'm just gonna save it, export it, and call it a starter and send it out to someone else to see if they can add something. But I just really liked this sample and I really wanted to figure out what I could put. So I went on Splice and I found this guitar sample. So I really liked how certain parts of that guitar melody went along with the chords and the vocals. I didn't like, you see at the beginning here, that boom 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 boom. It's really good at the first, but it happens way too often. Boom 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 boom. Like, it's way too often. So I chopped it up and I took different pieces, put it in different parts to go with the timing of the chords and the vocals. Now the sample is done. Now I really have, like, now this sounds amazing to me. Now I really have exactly what I wanted, and the final piece that I added to this sample is I processed the main chords again. So see, now I'm gonna turn them off so you can hear the difference. And now I'm gonna turn on the other chord layer. And now I'm gonna turn on the vocal. And now I'm gonna turn on the guitar. So that was the breakdown of my favorite sample I made this week. I named that one Home because, like I said earlier, it made me feel the colors I saw when making this sample were yellow and brown, and those are very homey colors to me. So the feeling I was getting was just like an overall big warm hug. So stay creative.